Men are moved by two levers only, fear and self-interest. Napoleon Bonaparte, they tell you to just be yourself. It's the worst advice you could ever take. Being yourself, unfiltered and untrained, is like walking onto a battlefield naked. You're vulnerable, you're predictable, and you're about to get played. This isn't about being fake. It's about understanding the game everyone else is already playing, whether they realize it or not. It's about recognizing that every interaction, every conversation is a negotiation. It's about understanding that people are constantly assessing you, testing you, and trying to subtly gain the upper hand. And if you're not aware of it, you're already losing. We're not interested in surface-level charm or manipulative tricks. We're focused on the underlying dynamics, the unspoken rules, the subtle power plays that dictate the outcome of every social encounter. Most people drift through life reacting to the cues of others, blindly following social scripts they've never questioned. They're puppets dancing on strings they can't see. We're here to cut those strings. We're here to show you how to see the world as it truly is, a complex web of influence where perception is reality and control is the ultimate prize. This isn't about dominating others. It's about protecting yourself. It's about understanding the motivations and vulnerabilities of the people around you, so you can navigate social situations with confidence and achieve your goals without being manipulated or exploited. Forget the self-help gurus preaching positivity and authenticity. The real world is a battlefield, and you need to be armed with knowledge, strategy, and a ruthless understanding of human nature. The idea that everyone is inherently good is a dangerous lie. People are driven by self-interest, ego, and a constant desire for validation. They will lie, cheat, and manipulate to get what they want, often without even realizing they're doing it. This isn't cynicism, it's realism. And it's the foundation upon which all effective social strategy is built. We're not teaching you how to become a master manipulator. We're teaching you how to recognize manipulation when it's happening to you and how to defend yourself against it. We're teaching you how to see through the masks people wear and understand their true motivations. We're teaching you how to control the narrative, frame the conversation, and ultimately control your own destiny. Stop believing the comforting lies. Stop accepting the status quo. Start seeing the world for what it is, a game of social chess where every move matters, and start learning how to play. Because whether you like it or not, you're already in the game. The only question is, are you playing to win, or are you just a pawn in someone else's strategy? We offer a new perspective, the truth. Once the false narratives are burnt away, there is a path. The first step to mastering social chess is understanding that everyone operates from a position of perceived lack. Whether it's a lack of status, a lack of affection, a lack of control, or a lack of security, this underlying deficiency drives their actions. This void fuels the ego's desperate need for validation and recognition, often manifesting as manipulative behaviors designed to fill the emptiness. People aren't inherently evil, but they are inherently self-preserving, and that instinct can lead them down some dark paths. Consider the constant need for social media validation, the carefully curated images, the desperate pleas for likes and comments. These are all symptoms of a deeper insecurity, a fear of being insignificant. This fear is easily exploited by those who understand its power, who know how to dangle the carrot of validation just out of reach. Furthermore, human beings are creatures of habit and deeply influenced by cognitive biases. Confirmation bias, for example, leads people to seek out information that confirms their existing beliefs, regardless of whether those beliefs are accurate. This makes them incredibly susceptible to propaganda, misinformation, and persuasive arguments that prey on their preconceived notions. Similarly, the anchoring bias causes people to rely too heavily on the first piece of information they receive, even if that information is irrelevant or misleading. This can be used to frame a conversation in a way that benefits the manipulator, setting the terms of the debate before the other person even has a chance to think critically. Understanding these biases is crucial to recognizing when your own thinking is being compromised, and to effectively counter the manipulative tactics of others. The concept of framing is paramount in understanding conversational power. It's about controlling the narrative, dictating the terms of the discussion, and shaping the perception of reality. Think of a news headline. The way the story is framed can completely alter the reader's understanding of the events, even if the facts remain the same. In interpersonal interactions, framing can be used to subtly influence someone's opinion, shift blame, or even rewrite history. A skilled manipulator will constantly reframe the situation to their advantage, subtly shifting the blame onto others, highlighting their own virtues and downplaying their flaws. To counter this, you must be able to recognize when you're being framed, and to reframe the situation in a way that reflects the truth and protects your own interests. This requires a keen awareness of language, tone, and body language, as well as the ability to think on your feet and articulate your position clearly and confidently. Another key element is the art of deception. People lie. It's a fundamental aspect of human interaction. Sometimes it's a harmless white lie to spare someone's feelings, but often it's a calculated attempt to manipulate or deceive. Being able to detect deception is a crucial skill in the social arena. Look for micro-expressions, fleeting expressions that betray someone's true emotions. Pay attention to inconsistencies in their story and listen to their tone of voice. Notice if they avoid eye contact, fidget nervously, or exhibit other signs of discomfort. While no single sign is foolproof, a combination of these indicators can often reveal when someone is being dishonest. But it's not just about detecting lies, it's also about understanding why people lie in the first place. What are they trying to hide? What are they trying to gain? By understanding their motivations, you can better anticipate their actions and protect yourself from their deception. Ultimately, mastering social chess is about understanding human psychology, recognizing manipulative tactics, and controlling the narrative. It's about seeing the invisible game being played beneath the surface of everyday interactions. It's about understanding the power dynamics at play and learning how to navigate them to your advantage. It's not about becoming a ruthless manipulator yourself, but about equipping yourself with the knowledge and skills to defend yourself against manipulation and to achieve your goals without being exploited. It's about reclaiming your power and taking control of your own destiny. It's about seeing the world as it truly is, not as you wish it to be. And that is the path to true freedom. It's a system of observation and analysis. Imagine this scenario. You're at a business meeting, a crucial negotiation that could make or break your company's next quarter. Across the table sits your counterpart, a seasoned executive known for their sharp wit and even sharper negotiating skills. They seem affable, even friendly, but you know better. You understand that beneath the surface of polite conversation, a game is being played, a subtle dance of power and influence. They begin by praising your company, but you recognize it as a classic manipulation tactic, a way to lull you into a false sense of security. They're building rapport, softening you up for the eventual ask. Don't fall for it. Stay vigilant, maintain your frame, and remember that every word, every gesture is part of their strategy. As the meeting progresses, they start subtly shifting the blame for a previous project's failure onto your team. You immediately recognize this as an attempt to weaken your position, to gain leverage in the negotiation. You counter with facts and data, deflecting the blame and redirecting the conversation back to the agreed-upon agenda. You don't let their narrative take hold. You control the information flow. The tension in the room rises as the discussion moves to pricing. They start by lowballing your offer, knowing it's far below what you're willing to accept. This is a classic anchoring technique, setting the initial price low to influence your perception of value. You hold your ground, confidently stating your price and backing it up with solid evidence of the value your company provides. You maintain eye contact, projecting confidence and unwavering resolve. You are not intimidated. You know your worth. Throughout the negotiation, they employ various other tactics, guilt-tripping, appealing to your emotions, and even outright bullying. But you remain calm and rational, refusing to be swayed by their emotional manipulation. You see through their attempts to control you, to manipulate your decisions. You are aware. You are in control. You hold strong. You stand by your beliefs. As the meeting nears its end, a stalemate seems inevitable, but you have a final card to play. You reveal a piece of information they were unaware of, a strategic advantage that significantly strengthens your position. This shifts the power dynamic in your favor, forcing them to reconsider their demands. Their carefully constructed facade begins to crack, revealing their true intentions. They are now desperate. They will concede. They now see you for who you are, someone not to be tested. After a few tense moments of silence, they finally agree to your terms, albeit grudgingly. You have successfully navigated the social chess game, emerging victorious without compromising your values or being manipulated. You understood the subtle cues, recognized the tactics, and maintained control of the narrative. You saw the invisible game and you played it masterfully. You played with the understanding that you were better than them. This is a true reflection. You earned it. The next time you encounter a situation like this, remember this scenario and remember the principles of social chess. Be aware of the power dynamics at play, recognize the manipulation tactics, and never relinquish control of the narrative. Your observations and reactions are more powerful than theirs. In that high-stakes negotiation, every move, every word was carefully calculated. The seasoned executive wasn't just trying to get a better deal for their company. They were attempting to dominate the interaction, to exert control over you and the situation. Their initial praise wasn't genuine admiration. It was a strategic maneuver to lower your guard, to make you more receptive to their subsequent demands. The subtle blame shifting wasn't an honest assessment of past performance. It was a deliberate attempt to undermine your credibility, to weaken your negotiating position. Their lowball offer wasn't simply a starting point for discussion. It was an attempt to anchor your perception of value, to make your own price seem unreasonable. And their emotional appeals, their guilt trips, their attempts at bullying, these were all designed to exploit your vulnerabilities, to cloud your judgment, to force you to make concessions you would later regret. But you saw through it all. You recognized their tactics for what they were, attempts to manipulate you, to control you, to gain an unfair advantage. And you refused to play their game. You maintained your composure, you held your ground, and you countered their moves with skill and precision. You controlled your emotions, focusing on logic and reason. You knew your value, and you refused to compromise. You understood the importance of frame control, of maintaining your own perspective and not allowing them to dictate the terms of the conversation. You recognized that every interaction is a negotiation, a contest of wills, and that the person who controls the frame ultimately controls the outcome. And you were determined to be that person. You were not afraid to assert yourself, to defend your position, and to challenge their assumptions. You knew that weakness invites exploitation and that strength commands respect. You were confident, assertive, and unwavering in your resolve. You would not be manipulated. You would not be intimidated. You would not be defeated. And in the end, you prevailed. You successfully navigated the social chess game, emerging victorious because you understood the rules, you recognized the tactics, and you refused to be manipulated. You controlled the narrative, you maintained your frame, and you achieved your objectives without compromising your values or being exploited. You demonstrated the power of social intelligence, of emotional control, and of strategic thinking. You showed that even in the most high-pressure situations, you can maintain your composure, assert your authority, and achieve your goals. This is power. This is you. This is the essence of social chess. The ability to see the hidden game, to recognize the subtle cues, and to control the narrative. It's about understanding human psychology, anticipating your opponent's moves, and strategically maneuvering to achieve your desired outcome. It's not about being ruthless or manipulative. It's about being aware, assertive, and in control. It's about protecting yourself from being exploited and achieving your goals without compromising your integrity. It's about understanding that every interaction is a negotiation, and that the person who controls the frame ultimately controls the outcome. It's about mastering the art of influence, of persuasion, and of strategic communication. It's about knowing your worth, defending your position, and refusing to be intimidated. It's about developing a keen sense of observation, of paying attention to the subtle details of human behavior, and of recognizing the underlying motivations that drive people's actions. It's about being able to read people's emotions, to detect deception, and to understand their unspoken intentions. It's about cultivating emotional intelligence, of managing your own emotions and of understanding the emotions of others. It's about developing empathy, of being able to see the world from another person's perspective, and of understanding their needs and desires. It's about building rapport, of establishing genuine connections with people, and of fostering trust and mutual respect. But it's also about being able to set boundaries, of knowing when to say no, and of protecting yourself from being taken advantage of. It's about being assertive, of expressing your needs and desires clearly and confidently, without being aggressive or overbearing. It's about being authentic, of being true to yourself, and of not trying to be someone you're not. It's about being confident, of believing in yourself, and of knowing that you have the skills and abilities to achieve your goals. It's about being resilient, of being able to bounce back from setbacks, and of learning from your mistakes. It's about cultivating a growth mindset, of believing that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. It's about being open to new ideas, of being willing to challenge your own assumptions, and of constantly learning and growing. It's about being adaptable, of being able to adjust to changing circumstances, and of embracing new challenges. It's about being proactive, of taking initiative, and of not waiting for things to happen to you. It's about being responsible, of taking ownership of your actions, and of being accountable for your results. It's about being ethical, of doing the right thing, even when it's difficult, and of upholding your values and principles. Mastering social chess is a lifelong journey, a continuous process of learning, growing, and refining your skills. It's about becoming a master of human interaction, of understanding the subtle dynamics of power and influence, and of navigating the social landscape with skill, confidence, and integrity. And as you master this art, you'll find that you not only achieve your goals more effectively, but that you also build stronger relationships, foster greater trust, and create a more positive impact on the world around you. Social chess is not just a game, it's a way of life. It's a mindset, a philosophy, and a set of skills that can transform your interactions, your relationships, and your entire life. Embrace the challenge and unlock your full potential. Embrace and unlock a new you. It all begins with awareness. The unaware walk blindly into preset traps. These traps aren't always malicious, but their impact is the same. Control ceded, power lost, and the narrative dictated by someone else. Think of it as a path through a forest. The master social strategist sees the terrain, anticipates the pitfalls, and chooses their route with precision. The unaware stumble, falling into concealed holes, snagged by hidden vines, and ultimately led astray. These traps manifest in countless forms, but they share a common characteristic. They exploit inherent weaknesses in human psychology. One of the most common is the need to be liked. This deeply ingrained desire for social acceptance makes us vulnerable to manipulation. We unconsciously adjust our behavior, our opinions, even our values, in an effort to gain approval. The skilled player recognizes this vulnerability and uses it to their advantage. They might offer superficial praise, creating a sense of obligation, or feign disappointment, triggering a desire to appease. The unaware, desperate for validation, readily comply, sacrificing their own interest in the process. Another trap is the authority bias. We're conditioned to respect authority figures, to defer to their judgment, and to accept their pronouncements without question. This bias is essential for social order, but it can also be exploited. Someone wielding the mantle of authority, whether real or perceived, can easily influence our decisions and actions. They might use technical jargon to obscure their intentions, cite dubious statistics to support their claims, or simply rely on their perceived status to intimidate dissent. The unaware, intimidated by the display of authority, blindly follow instructions, regardless of their own reservations. The scarcity principle is yet another weapon in the manipulator's arsenal. This principle dictates that we value things more when they're perceived as scarce or limited. A limited time offer, a rare opportunity, an exclusive invitation. These triggers create a sense of urgency, compelling us to act quickly and without careful consideration. The unaware, driven by the fear of missing out, succumb to the pressure, making impulsive decisions that they later regret. But these traps are not limited to external manipulation. We often create our own pitfalls, internal traps that sabotage our efforts and undermine our potential. The confirmation bias, for example, leads us to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle of delusion, preventing us from seeing the world as it truly is. The unaware, trapped in their own echo chambers, become increasingly rigid and resistant to change, blinding themselves to new opportunities and perspectives. The availability heuristic is another cognitive shortcut that can lead us astray. This heuristic dictates that we overestimate the likelihood of events that are easily recalled, typically because they're vivid, recent, or emotionally charged. The unaware, swayed by sensational news stories and anecdotal evidence, make irrational decisions based on distorted perceptions of risk. The key to avoiding these traps is awareness. Cultivate a deep understanding of human psychology, recognizing the biases, heuristics, and vulnerabilities that make us susceptible to manipulation. Question everything, especially your own assumptions. Don't blindly accept information at face value. Seek out diverse perspectives, challenge your own beliefs, and be willing to change your mind in the face of new evidence. Develop your critical thinking skills. Learn to identify logical fallacies, detect hidden agendas, and analyze arguments with precision. Don't be swayed by emotion, rhetoric, or appeals to authority. Focus on the facts, the evidence, and the underlying logic. Practice self-awareness. Pay attention to your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Identify your own biases, weaknesses, and vulnerabilities. Understand what triggers you, what motivates you, and what makes you susceptible to manipulation. By understanding yourself, you can better protect yourself from external influences. Develop your emotional intelligence. Learn to recognize and manage your own emotions and to understand and empathize with the emotions of others. This will allow you to navigate social situations with greater skill and sensitivity, and to build stronger, more authentic relationships. Finally, be vigilant. The world is full of traps, both intentional and unintentional. Don't let your guard down. Stay alert, stay informed, and stay curious. The more you learn, the more you'll see, and the better equipped you'll be to navigate the complex and often treacherous landscape of human interaction. Remember, social chess is a game of constant vigilance and adaptation. The player who rests on their laurels, who becomes complacent or overconfident, is destined to fall victim to the traps that lie in wait. The master player is always learning, always adapting, and always anticipating the next move. And that is how you win. It is about recognizing and sidestepping the traps that others fail to see. It's about seeing the game for what it is, a dynamic interplay of power, influence, and manipulation, and navigating it with skill, confidence, and integrity. The weak fail because they remain oblivious, blindfolded in a world of hidden agendas. To truly master social chess, you must embrace a strategic mindset, a calculated approach to understanding and influencing the world around you. This isn't about being ruthless or unkind. It's about recognizing the underlying dynamics at play and using that knowledge to navigate social situations effectively and ethically. Central to this approach is the concept of leverage. Identify what motivates others, their desires, their fears, their vulnerabilities. This information is your currency, your leverage point. When you understand what someone wants or fears, you can tailor your actions and communications to influence their behavior. Consider the long game. Don't focus solely on immediate gratification or short-term wins. Think several moves ahead, anticipate potential consequences, and plan your actions accordingly. A seemingly insignificant gesture today can yield significant benefits down the road if it's strategically aligned with your long-term goals. Recognize the importance of perception. How others perceive you is often more important than the reality of who you are. Cultivate a reputation that serves your interests. Be known for your competence, your integrity, your ability to deliver. Project an image of strength, confidence, and reliability. This will make others more likely to trust you, respect you, and defer to your judgment. Learn to control the narrative. People are constantly constructing stories about themselves and the world around them. Be proactive in shaping those narratives. Frame events in a way that benefits you, highlight your accomplishments, and downplay your weaknesses. Use storytelling to connect with others on an emotional level and to persuade them to see things from your perspective. Master the art of negotiation. Every interaction is a negotiation, whether you realize it or not. Be clear about your goals, understand your BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement, and be prepared to walk away if necessary. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want, but also be willing to compromise and find mutually beneficial solutions. Embrace the power of silence. Sometimes the most effective tactic is to say nothing at all. Silence can create tension, force others to reveal their hand, and give you time to think strategically. Learn to be comfortable with silence and use it to your advantage. Understand the psychology of influence. Explore the principles of persuasion, such as reciprocity, scarcity, authority, and social proof. Learn how to use these principles ethically and effectively to influence others' attitudes and behaviors. Reciprocity is the ingrained human tendency to return favors. If you do something nice for someone, they will feel obligated to reciprocate. Scarcity makes people want things more when they think there is a limited supply. Authority tells us to naturally obey authority figures, even if that obedience goes against our better judgment. Social proof relies on the assumption that if other people are doing something, that something must be okay. Cultivate a network of allies. No one succeeds alone. Build strong relationships with people who can support you, mentor you, and advocate for you. Be generous with your time, your resources, and your expertise. Help others succeed, and they will be more likely to help you in return. Learn to read people. Pay attention to their body language, their tone of voice, and their patterns of speech. Look for inconsistencies between their words and their actions. Develop your intuition and trust your gut feelings about people. Remember that people often reveal more about themselves than they intend to. Be adaptable and flexible. The social landscape is constantly changing. Be prepared to adjust your strategies and tactics as needed. Don't be afraid to experiment and try new things. Learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward. Develop your problem-solving skills. Social chess is a game of constant challenges and obstacles. Be resourceful, creative, and persistent in finding solutions to the problems you encounter. Look for unconventional approaches and don't be afraid to think outside the box. Understand the power of timing. Sometimes the most important factor is not what you do, but when you do it. Be patient and wait for the right moment to act. Don't rush into things prematurely, but also don't hesitate to seize opportunities when they arise. Learn to delegate effectively. As you rise in influence, you will need to delegate tasks and responsibilities to others. Learn to identify the right people for the right jobs and empower them to succeed. Provide them with the resources and support they need and hold them accountable for their results. Cultivate a growth mindset. Believe that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. Embrace challenges, learn from criticism, and persist in the face of setbacks. Never stop learning, never stop growing, and never stop striving to become the best version of yourself. Maintain a sense of perspective. Don't get too caught up in the game. Remember that social chess is just one aspect of life. Don't let it consume you or define you. Maintain a healthy balance between your personal and professional life and prioritize your relationships with the people you care about. Stay true to your values. Don't compromise your integrity or your ethics in the pursuit of power or success. Remember that true power comes from within, from a sense of purpose, meaning, and connection. Be authentic, be genuine, and be true to yourself. By embracing these strategies and principles, you can transform yourself into a master of social chess, capable of navigating the complex and often treacherous landscape of human interaction with skill, confidence, and integrity. It is about calculated actions, where every word, every gesture, and every silence is a deliberate move. It is not about being manipulative in a negative sense, but about understanding the dynamics of social situations and using that understanding to achieve your goals in an ethical and effective manner. The Machiavellian approach, in its purest form, is simply a way of seeing the world as it is, rather than how we wish it to be. It is a pragmatic philosophy that emphasizes the importance of power, influence, and strategy in achieving success. The master player understands that emotions, biases, and hidden agendas often drive people's actions, and that by recognizing these factors, one can gain a significant advantage. This doesn't mean resorting to deception or treachery, but rather being aware of the underlying currents and navigating them skillfully. It's about understanding the motivations of others and using that knowledge to create win-win situations where everyone benefits. It's about being a strategic thinker, always anticipating the next move and planning several steps ahead. It's about being a master of communication, able to persuade, influence, and inspire others. The aim is to understand the game that's already being played, not to change the rules. It is a means of self-defense, ensuring you are not the pawn of someone else's game. It's about becoming a conscious player rather than an